You're watching Pagan Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Pagan Nightly News. I'm Anastasia Tompkins, along with
Don Lewis.
Tonight's lead story concerns Harry Potter and how his appeal is medieval. Amid the holiday season, our thoughts turn to tradition, and not just American tradition, but to the Western tradition, because the two are linked. Out of that linkage comes the enduring hope for some kind of peace and unity. The most powerful recent expression of that underlying cultural yearning is the new movie Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which is dominating the box office on both sides of the Atlantic. So while one must give credit to the skill of J.K. Rowling and the filmmakers, one must also note that they have tapped into a deeper pattern, to the continuing allure of the Middle Ages and to the mystic memory chords of Americans, most of whom trace ethnic and/or religious ancestry back to Europe. The religions of Europe, Judaism and Christianity, trace back even further, all the way to the Middle East. But the images from that distant time and place, while powerful, are more central to religion than to popular entertainment. The lives of Moses and Jesus are better celebrated in a religious service than in a movie theater. By contrast, the Potter series, like Lord of the Rings, and any number of King Arthur-ish sword and sorcery tales are more user-friendly in the popular culture. And now for a Wiccan view of the Harry Potter phenomenon, we have Reverend Don Lewis, Chancellor of a real-life school of witchcraft, witchschool.com.
Hello. When we talk about Harry Potter, it seems that everybody is always looking at its religious meanings. And I think really that you're hard-pressed to find a religious meaning in Harry Potter. There are an awful lot of meanings in the books that nobody seems to notice at all that I think are much more central to the author's real purposes in writing them. One of the central themes in all the Potter books that no one ever seems to comment on is racism. The central struggle in the wizarding world in the Harry Potter books is between the wizards and the muggles. And the main characters, particularly Hermione, Hermione is often encountering racial prejudice in all of the books. And I think that that lesson of the evils of racism is very much central to the purpose of the books. Also, another theme that runs through these books is the subversion of a sitting government by what amounts to a radical conspiracy led by Lord Voldemort, apparently not for the first time. And another major lesson in the books is the idea that it's important to resist that kind of thing. I think it's no wonder that certain subgroups get very upset by these books, because really the central theme of these books deals with racism, deals with the importance of governments not giving into that sort of thing, and the importance of evaluating people on their own talents rather than what they happen to be born. You see the same theme also in the story of Hermione and the House Elves, which is all about the idea that a person's birth should not be their destiny. And many of the critics of the Harry Potter series seem to think that birth and destiny are the same thing.
What do you have to say about the accusations of the elements of Wicca and the occult in Harry Potter?
Well, first I'd say that if there were elements of Wicca in it, it would hardly be an allegation. It would simply be a fact. But actually, if you look at the books, they have nothing to do with Wicca. The students in the Harry Potter books clearly are celebrating the wider, more mainstream holidays, not the Wiccan holidays. There's not a word in any of the books about Wiccan theology or spirituality. So they really have nothing to do with Wicca, except for the incidental use of the word witch. As for wider occult influences, in a lot of ways I'd say the same thing in terms of the real metaphysical practices of groups such as ceremonials, Wiccans, etc. You really don't see any of that in Harry Potter. It's a fantasy book, a fantasy book series. And the kind of magic that you see in it has nothing to do with the kind of magic practiced by people who really do practice magic. Swish and flick is all well and good, but it doesn't work in real life.
What do you think of the teen witches that are calling witches, muggles?
Well, I'd have to say first that I haven't really heard too much of that, but I gather it's becoming a bit of a fad, and I really think that it's rather inadvisable. Anything that serves to separate us from other people is a bad thing. We really need to be reaching out to other people, not trying to build walls. So I would really advise against the use of the term. As Wiccans, we really want people to understand that we are people like they are and that we are good neighbors. And using terms like muggle is not going to help that message at all.
So overall, did you like Harry Potter?
I love the books and I've loved the movies. I'm very fond of Harry Potter. Harry Potter is our friend.
Well, that concludes tonight's Pagan Nightly News. And remember, magic is everywhere.
So is TV.